which leads us perfectly into the B I've chosen, biohacking.
Ha. Well, there's a number of people who are using biological tools and techniques to experiment on themselves. There are people called grinders who have actually made sort of implantable devices that in one case somebody implanted under their own forearm. Doctors won't do this, and so they used ice cubes and vodka and scalpels that they bought on eBay, and put a device under their arm. I think all the initial one that I'd heard of did was it sent like blood pressure or pulse rate via Bluetooth to an external device. And recently there were some people who did some experiments, controversial even in the transhumanist community, of eye drops that gave them temporary night vision to one extent or another. And so there's a number of people who are doing that sort of on themselves, and are also just doing things like bioengineering the microbes in yogurt, to make them glow in the dark and so on. So people have their own little kitchen and garage and basement biology labs where they're doing biological experiments on themselves and others. And other.
Do they eat the yogurt and then they glow?
That would be the next step. I would add that recently in researching an article, I've discovered that a lot of the people who view themselves as biohackers, primarily what they're doing is measuring their well-being. Sort of like Fitbit, but more extensively. And it's that sort of biohacking, changing how they eat, what they eat, how they sleep, what kind of exercise they do, seeing how far they can push their biology into the realm of self-enhancement, and basically being sort of superhuman as compared to the average person without actually having to go into genomics or put things inside your body, and so that appears to be part of the culture of biohacking is simply doing things that ordinary humans can easily do, and then measuring the results and using those results as a feedback loop to become even more superhuman within the biological limits that we have today.
That's true. The grinders are sort of the bleeding edge of the biohacking movement, and because biohacking does include more or less extreme things. In fact, Timothy Ferriss had a best-selling book a couple of years ago called The 4-Hour Body, in which he talked about his experiments and just measuring exactly what it takes to lose weight and build muscle mass and so on, and he ends up having his watch alarm go off at exactly this time, and then he eats 4 raw almonds, and doing things like that in order to optimize his health.
Great, and then you mentioned quantified self. This very much ties into that movement. It's already like with Fitbit and things. It's already well on the way, isn't it? So it's only the steps of what people would see as almost commitment. Let's go for the word commitment. To do any of these things, go and as soon as you get into it deeper, there's more options.
Right, and the Apple Watch with Health Kit.
Yeah.
All that's tying in. People are getting very organized and scientific about their health.
Okay, let's go for. Let's lead into cognitive enhancement specifically.
Okay, well, there has been a movement towards intelligence increase drugs and nutrients since the 1970s, and that has sort of evolved into the concept of cognitive enhancement and can we improve the functions of our brain, and certainly people are now using technologies, machines and so forth, technique as well as technology, but also a whole plethora of new drugs, nootropics, and so forth to have better brains. So maybe we can keep up with the AIs when they start to be as intelligent as we are. Jay, it looked like you were going to say something about that too.
No, I was just looking up in the book to see if I could find something else.
See if it was really there.
Find something to add to that.
Yeah.
But no, that's what I would say.
There's an awful lot of stuff online about nootropics. I don't know the degree to which anything is proven to work as a sort of long-term IQ booster or something that people can gobble down for a few years and suddenly become, from being an average person to being an Einstein and so forth. We don't have something along those lines yet, but there do seem to be a number of things that are understood to be effective, and even those old-fashioned drugs that terrorize America, the stimulants, the amphetamines, seem to have some intelligence increase use, at least as a temporary effect, as many college students and writers know. Although,
yes.
Although it doesn't seem to make the bikers to be particularly intellectual.
But yes, that's a big thing apparently in colleges these days of getting your Adderall prescription and using it to study harder.
Joe, I was going to. I did stand up on the weekend in the city. So those who are watching, I say one other thing. Anytime I smoke weed, I'm a genius.
All right.
That counts. Doesn't happen that often, but it counts. I thought it'd be vaguely amusing for everyone. Okay, so California, man, it's kind of living here. Let's talk about consciousness. What is consciousness now? Because obviously we're talking about AI, and this is where the bridge starts to come, is because people go, can an AI have self-reflexive consciousness? Can it know itself to be a thinking creature? So, where are you guys at with that?
Yeah, well, I'll say a little something. That's a very tricky issue because that really gets into a great deal of heavy-duty philosophy, as we discovered when we were working on this section of the book. One particular issue that I find interesting is that to many people, your consciousness in your brain is just your neurons firing back and forth and sending chemical and electrical signals. And so, hey, all you need to do is to have an artificial brain, a silicon brain, that you have programmed to do the same thing at the same level, to the same degree, and then voila, you'll have consciousness, right? Well, there are many people who think this is not going to work, that they think that consciousness is to some degree, arising from our physical bodies in a way that you either won't be able to, or it'll be much more difficult to simply model this in silicon and say that you have the same thing. That and then other people say, oh no, that's, I don't know, I've forgotten what the term, biological essentialism or something, I think is the term for that. But I find it very interesting because and I think actually it may be, to some degree, it relates to what I said earlier about how artificial general intelligence turns out to be much more difficult than we thought 10 or 20 or 30 years ago. Trying to understand exactly how the brain works and why it works that way is very difficult.